Hello investors. I wish all investors a very happy day. To begin this video, I would like to wish everyone who is watching, especially those who have already purchased crypto at attractive prices, continued success. I hope you all managed to buy at a good price range. I also advise everyone to continue holding your positions and not to sell, as there are no signs of distribution yet. Let's hold on and wait for the profits to reach the expected levels. To save your time, let's start by reviewing the crypto chart. First, we can see that the crypto market is very strong and growing, but the last two sessions show signs of slowing down in the growth momentum. And of course, while moving upwards, crypto will experience some correction phases to shake out the trailing investors and consolidate before moving upwards again. One very important point is that when crypto is rising, indicators often get inaccurate, leading to premature selling or buying at high prices. If you have already purchased positions at reasonable price levels, you should continue holding, and there's no need to rush and sell right now. As for those investors who prefer quick buying and selling, I don't think that's a good approach, because the fluctuations in the past two sessions show the crypto market's volatility. Therefore, investors who buy and sell within the same session might experience strong market fluctuations, which could confirm the next trend. For this reason, I believe it's better not to trade in such a manner. If anyone enjoys such trading, then you should be patient and wait for the crypto market to stabilize with less volatility, like the past two sessions, before jumping in with quick buy and sell transactions. Next, let's take a look at the ETH chart. Looking at the chart, we can see it's truly unbelievable, right? It's doing very well. Congratulations to those of you who are holding. I believe your portfolio will continue to grow. On this note, I also hope you can be patient and wait to optimize your profits. Especially for those investors who are considering opening new positions, I would advise against it. During a growth phase, ETH may experience unexpected fluctuations and reversals within the session. This could lead to losses for inexperienced investors who might get caught up in the market's fluctuations. If any investor prefers to trade by buying and selling within the same session, they should wait for a good accumulation zone before confirming the next trend. Then consider entering the market according to their trading style. On the other hand, for investors looking to buy and hold for the medium term, I don't recommend making new purchases at this point. As retail investors, it's important to buy at the most optimal times to ensure high profits and also to safeguard your portfolio. Additionally, I am available to provide consultation and share advice on entry and exit points for the stocks you hold or in cases where you've purchased at the wrong time or position. Feel free to reach out to me for advice so that you can optimize your investment portfolio and hold onto strong stocks. Also, if you're considering any stock purchase, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll gladly share my insights to assist you. Next, let's take a look at the Google stock chart. We can see that this stock has increased in value. Although the increase from my personal entry point is not very significant, you definitely have a much better entry position compared to others. When you bought at a price level that scared most investors, that was the best time to enter the stock. Now, the stock has risen, and at the current price, many are afraid to buy because they fear a potential reversal and price drop. If you act like this, you will invest with anxiety and worry, which makes it very difficult to invest for the long term. At the current price level, I would not recommend buying in the next trading session. However, for those who have already entered, just hold your positions. For those investors who prefer to buy and sell within the same session, I wouldn't recommend choosing the stock right now because the current price level is more of an accumulation and consolidation phase for the stock. Therefore, I think buying and selling within the same session may not bring high profits. Instead, you should choose stocks that have a clearer trend and more upward momentum for better returns in your session. At this stage, this stock is more suitable for investors who prefer a slower, long-term holding strategy. As for the sell zone, I already shared that in a previous video, and those of you interested can review it. Finding good stocks for your portfolio is important, but identifying stocks where you can optimize safe entry points and potential profits is very difficult. This is something that my channel provides in great detail. My channel is practically a hands-on stock investment guide, offering fantastic advice for when to buy, hold, and sell as needed. Next, let's take a look at the Apple stock chart. I've mentioned several times to investors that the buying zone at $209.4 was a great opportunity, and I also pointed out the sell zone in my previous video. You can review that video to better understand both the buying and selling zones. For this stock, I believe that those who bought at lower levels should continue holding and patiently wait for profits to materialize. Currently, the stock is encountering a weak resistance zone, and it's perfectly normal for any stock to experience some shaking in this situation. Therefore, investors need to give the stock more time to handle this resistance level. The resistance zone will likely be resolved quickly due to the signs of diminishing volume and the fact that the stock is nearing a technical check on supply and demand. For this reason, investors should wait a bit longer. Today's trading session shows that the stock isn't breaking out just yet, so we will need to wait for the next accumulation phase. As for opening new positions, I still believe there are reasonable buying points at the current price level. However, if any investors are looking for immediate profits within the same session, I would suggest they avoid this stock. Instead, they should look for stocks with more momentum to provide quicker returns for their portfolio. It's also important to avoid buying stocks at too high a price to reduce the risk. Next, let's take a look at the NVDA stock chart. I believe that there is still a great upward momentum ahead for this stock, but the opportunity for new buying positions isn't quite there yet. We need to give the stock more time to adjust and balance around the current price level. After this, we can assess signals to find a safer entry point. If the stock doesn't adjust and continues to rise as it is now, particularly with today's large gap in the trading session, I would advise against buying or selling during the session. In this range, the stock is prone to volatility, and any investors looking to trade intraday should be cautious. For those considering new positions to hold, it might not be the right time to buy, as the current entry point is not safe for your portfolio. Therefore, waiting is recommended. However, for investors who have been holding since lower price levels and have an ideal entry position, it might be worth continuing to hold in order to benefit from the stock's next growth phase. Investing is a daily process, so patience is key. For those eager to buy NVDA at the current moment, I suggest careful consideration before proceeding. Next, let's take a look at the Pleater stock chart. The chart shows that the stock is quite strong in an uptrend, but I predict that it will go through a consolidation phase, and it may drop a bit more to form a double bottom. This would allow the stock to solidify and become even stronger. However, this scenario didn't happen, and instead, the stock showed its strength by pushing the price above the previous peak. This indicates that the stock's momentum is quite strong. Therefore, investors can immediately consider buying as soon as the stock experiences a small pullback. You can open a position in a certain amount to test the waters for your portfolio. Personally, I believe that if the stock pulls back to the middle of yesterday's candle, it would still be a reasonable buy for retail investors given the strength of this stock. This stock requires more flexibility in investing compared to others, and investors need to observe carefully. Pleater has the ability to push prices up very well. If you enter during a price push, the stock could have a great rally for investors. As for the flexible selling zone, I've mentioned it in my previous video, and investors can review it to get a more comprehensive view. Next, let's take a look at the M stock chart. This stock also looks quite strong on the chart with a very clear trend and more robust movement compared to my previous observations. In my opinion, this stock looks better than Apple. Therefore, for stocks like this, we can look for pullbacks as an opportunity to enter and give investors a solid position. As for the immediate sell zone for this stock, I mentioned it in my previous video, and investors can review that video for more details. The reason I say the stock is strong is that, in my previous video, I noted that it needed to consolidate before breaking out. However, the stock has continued to rise with a narrow trading range, which is a positive sign for a stock considered to be good. Next, let's take a look at the INTO stock chart, which I mentioned in my previous video. Currently, this stock shows a good shakeout of retail investors, which makes it a great buying opportunity for those who like stocks like this. The stock has been consolidating very well, and there's a clear activation of capital flow. This suggests that the stock may be about to enter a price push phase. However, since the stock hasn't yet undergone a proper supply and demand test during the push-up, it hasn't been able to break out and rally strongly yet. Investors should pay attention to the current price level for potential entry points. The shakeout process has been quite effective, especially for investors who have been chasing the stock from higher levels. Currently, the stock is in a beautiful balance and seems to have successfully formed two bottoms. In the event of a further pullback, the immediate sell zone is something to keep an eye on in order to protect your portfolio. You can also review my previous video for more details. In my opinion, this stock is in a good position to enter at the current price level, and investors can buy in larger quantities since the retail investors have largely been shaken out, and the stock is now in a safer, balanced zone. I hope investors find a good portfolio for the stocks they hold. For the stocks mentioned here, if you have better entry points, feel free to share your comments with me, and I'd be happy to discuss or help with any stocks you may be struggling with, especially if your entry points were incorrect. This is just my personal opinion, and I disclaim any responsibility for all investors. I believe you are smart investors, and you understand better than anyone how to buy, sell, and hold stocks. Therefore, take care of your health so you can make sound decisions for your investment portfolio. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.